What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Pimpoholic TV podcast. And this is your homeboy, Maal The Pimp. And I got a very, very, very special guest here, a long-time friend of mine. You know, this lady played a real important role in my music career. So let me introduce who I got. I got the Dean of MTSU, which is Middle Tennessee State University. The Dean of Middle Tennessee State University's College of Media and Entertainment. She's an award-winning journalist who's also written for the Nashville newspaper, which is the Tennessean. She was on the Forbes list for 40 women to watch over 40. She's the co-founder of the Nashville Music Equality. She's the executive producer of the TV show Iconic Women of Country. She's been a consultant and representative for people such as Lionel Richie, Shania Twain, just to name a few. And she's also in the Hall of Fame for the Nashville's Music Business Women. I'm talking about Beverly Keel. Welcome to Pimpoholic TV. And how you doing, ma'am? How you doing?
Hi, happy Maal The Pimp Monday.
Yeah. You know, we do Maal The Pimp Monday. Yeah. Salute. We've been doing Maal The Pimp Monday for the last 2 years, you know, so it's like an annual thing. You know, every Monday I post something that regards to me, whether it's a video or a live performance or a picture, just something that remind people that, you know, Maal The Pimp is official in this music industry, you know, so we do it every Monday, just a reminder.
And now, you've been working at that for a long time.
Yes, you know that out of all people, you know that. Now, you got a long list of credentials, you know, so we got a lot we could talk about. And
well, let me just say, first of all, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And no matter how big or successful or tough you get, you'll always be my sweet Jamal.
You know that. You call me Jamal, so you know that you really know me.
But I'll try to stick to Maal.
No, it's cool. No, that paints a bigger picture of me as a person.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody knows Maal The Pimp, MTP, or Maal. You know, when somebody calls me Jamal, it's like, okay, this person really knows him.
Old school.
Outside of the artist, this person knows him, so I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but people should know how long you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Day in and day out.
Yeah.
You were already on BET while you were in college with your
Right.
video.
Exactly.
And you were already, you know, planning your shows and recording, and
right.
So you didn't sit back and wait to be discovered. You didn't sit back for somebody else to make it happen. You made it happen for you.
I learned early in my career, really when I was in college, I really learned how important the independent hustle was. And really I did it not because I wanted to, but because I didn't have a choice. Like, nobody's not gonna go ahead and promote my videos for me. Nobody's not gonna get in the street and do this. Nobody's not gonna call across the country and set up meetings. So once I realized that, I got to do it myself. I got used to that, and that's kind of the only life that I knew. So somebody like me, when a record label has tried to offer me certain situations, and if it didn't add up financially, because right. You're always going to bring to the table outside of the money, I'm already doing that. So you're going to charge me for each one of those services, and I'm already doing it. The money just don't add up to me, you know. So
you were really ahead of the game in that, because now with the internet and, you know, the streaming services and, you know, from TikTok to Spotify to whatever, a lot of people are doing it on their own, and they're, you know, making a good living doing it on their own. But you were ahead of the curve with that.
Yeah, like over 15 years ago, I was way ahead of that, you know. So, and I'm glad because it was already instilled in me. But then when I got to college and I really learned the business aspect of it and learned the professional terms from what I was already doing before I actually knew what the professional terms was, I was like, oh, okay, I'm my own. I'm like a walking corporation here. I didn't know that.
Exactly.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And you got to get your business in order.
Right.
And don't sign away your publishing.
That was the first thing I learned. That was the most important thing I learned. Yeah. Let's talk about Beverly Keel here.
Okay.
Now, so let's go back to the beginning. What year did you actually come to MTSU, and how did you actually get there?
I'm a Nashville native, and I graduated from MTSU in '88. Worked at the Nashville Banner while I was in college, and then they sent me to journalism school in New York. I came back and worked full-time as a journalist while I was just teaching part-time at MTSU. And then in '95, I became a full-time professor at MTSU in the Department of Recording Industry. 95. So a long time.
95. All right, now that's crazy because you came in '95. I got there in '98, and you was actually my professor in publicity in the recording industry, and I learned a lot from that class. A lot. And I remember when you brought in your video,
And
Talk about that. Talk
oh
about that.
my God, it was playing on BET.
Right.
And so, I'm just so like old and white. I was like, oh, class, I'm so excited. Jamal has a video airing on BET. Let's everybody look at it right now. And I turn it on, and it is like scantily clad humans bumping and grinding. And I'm, oh my God. But I was still proud of you.
And for y'all, for those of y'all who want to know what she's talking about the first ever video I did, which was called "Show It to Me," and I went to Daytona Beach, Miami, Orlando, and I think Jacksonville, and I shot the video down there. So I had a lot of women in the video with little or no clothes on. They was shaking and twerking and all that type of stuff because the video was called "Show It to Me." So I needed women who was gonna show it to us. So the video aired on, at the time it was a TV show on BET that came on at like 3 in the morning called BET Uncut. And there was a video show that played like a lot of independent artists who was not able to make Rap City and things like that. So I was able to get on BET Uncut, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I wanted to show my video to the class. But I didn't tell them I was on the video. So when they saw it for the first time, they was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah. That was cool, man. That was cool.
But I did show the video through. I didn't interrupt it.
Right, you did. That was cool.
But I was like, oh, I hope nobody's offended.
They liked it, to be honest.
You know what? If you're easily offended, you probably shouldn't be in the music business.
Exactly. And they liked it. They appreciated it. Then just know that one of your own classmates is on BET, but still walking the campus as if he's a normal person. I think that was humbling for me right there. That was humbling for me right there.
Yeah. And you can notice in every genre, our students are having big time success while they're still in college. Of course, one of our most recent success stories is Tay Keith, who Drake discovered his music while he was in college. Drake recorded some of his songs. Tay is from Memphis, was the first in his family to graduate college. And in December a year ago, he graduated from college. He had a #1 record with Travis Scott and got his first Grammy nomination.
Now, all this comes from a person who was an alumni of Middle Tennessee State University.
Yeah, and then we have people like Aaron Enderlin. Aaron wrote a hit, Monday Morning Church, that Alan Jackson cut while she was a student at MTSU. We had students in a trio named Maybe April who met at Grammy camp, decided to come to MTSU, played at official Grammy events the next year, planned a tour to the West Coast between their junior and senior year. We have another student, Langston Blue, who got his single out on Spotify, went to South by Southwest, Vibe Magazine wrote about him. So our students are very serious about their careers, and your career starts the day you step on campus, not the day you graduate. And you're living proof of that.
You're right about that. Now I'm gonna tell you another relationship that I made from MTSU. This is the craziest thing. Like initially when I was in college, I think in 2003, I started jumping on tour with Snoop Dogg. Not as a performer.
I remember,
being part of the entourage and being welcomed in and treated like family. But that situation that happened because I went to Snoop Dogg and introduced myself. It didn't happen like that. It happened from an MTSU relationship. And what happened was, if you remember, every year the RIM program would do a production and tech side would do a recording seminar where they would fly an engineer in who was already established in the music industry. And he would come in and record an artist on campus and show, in this specific situation right here, they wanted to show the production tech students how to record and mix a hip hop song. So the engineer that they flew in was Dave Aaron, who was at the time, which was Snoop. Rest in peace, Dave. He just passed too. Rest in peace, Dave.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed. Yeah, he passed last year. So they flew Dave Aaron in from LA, and his credentials were: this is Snoop Dogg's engineer. He's worked with Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Death Row Records. He's also Snoop Dogg's live sound engineer when he does his performances on the road and stuff like that. So Dave had a real nice track record in the industry. So the thing was, Dave was going to fly into campus. He's going to show all the production and tech students how to record a hip hop song, separate from country, but a hip hop song from beginning to end, how to record and mix it. But there was a but to that. The but was he needed an artist to record. So who was he going to record in the studio? So I think it was at the time, it might have been Christian Hasloo. No, Dan Pfeiffer. Professor Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer had everybody take all the artists on campus who were so-called artists. He had them bring their material to the recording industry office, and they mailed all the material out to LA. So Dave had like a gang of CDs and cassettes that he had to pick from to see who he wanted to work with. And out of all the stuff he got, guess who he picked? Yours truly. Out of all the stuff he got. So when he came to campus, record on the Friday and Saturday. Friday was the recording session. Saturday was the mixing session. So in these 2 days of us recording, we smoked and drank together and chilled, and we kind of formed a bond. Before he flew out the next day going to LA, he told me, he said, yeah, man, I like you. I really like the vibe I get from you. I like your music. So next time I'm on tour with Snoop, when you come down south, I'm going to call you so you can come through and jump on the tour bus and meet Snoop. And I told him to his face, yeah, I appreciate that. Good looking out. Thank you. But in my mind, I'm thinking, man, he's not going to call me. He's like, this is going to be the last I hear from you right here. You know, really, 2 months later, he called me. Hey, we're in Atlanta. Snoop is on tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do you want to come through? You damn right I want to come through. Yeah. So I came through. That was my first time actually meeting Snoop. And then from there, it was just clockwork. I was like, every time they came down south, I was on tour with them. You know what I'm saying? But all that started from a relationship at Middle Tennessee State University. So if I wouldn't have went to college, that wouldn't have happened right there. You know, and I cherish small things like that. Small things like that I cherish. Yeah.
Well, that's when they say, it's who you know. It's those meetings. And like, that's why we tell our students, the music industry is a business. Now, that business may be conducted in a bar, but don't get drunk. Use it as a business opportunity.
Right.
To make a good impression of yourself. And, also care about the other person. Don't be looking over their shoulder to see who else more important is coming in. It's not just about what somebody can do for your career, right? So these friendships and relationships can enrich your life.
Right.
So if you look at it like that, and you'll care about the people that you're meeting, they'll know that, and you'll form those bonds. And they may not have something right now, but if you make a good impression a month down the road, there'll be an opportunity, and they'll go, oh, who would be perfect for that? Maal The Pimp would be perfect.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because I tell a lot of the artists here in the city, people who hadn't really traveled outside of the city, I'm like, listen, man, relationships and networking, that's the most important thing you can do. A relationship can take you further than any dollar amount can. Once you got a good relationship with somebody, that goes on right there. You can't pay for that. You can't pay for that right there. And that's the most important thing that I learned when I came to campus. I learned about networking, because you got to think, before I came to campus, I was fresh out of the street. You know what I mean? Like I was in the streets before I came to campus. So I was successful in my city, as far as if you want to call me a celebrity or somebody that was well known. I was well known in my city because of the music. But I was a guy who was from the neighborhood. So when I came to campus, this was my first time being around like thousands of people from different walks of life, different races, different ethnicities. I'm taking classes. I'm in a class. I got a Chinese dude sitting next to me. I got a blind dude right here. I got a dude in a wheelchair over there. I got a Arabian person right here. And I'm in study groups with these people. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I realized, like, oh, okay, this is bigger than where I just came from. And I saw them, like, okay, relationships and networking with all these people who come from different walks of life, that will take you further on down the line. I realized that when I was 19 years old. And the minute I opened my eyes to it, I jumped on it.
And you were also open. I mean, you could have said, oh, this old white lady doesn't know what she's talking about. She only knows country music. I'm not interested in what she has to say. But you sort of set aside any preconceived notions, went in with an open mind, and got to know me as I got to know you as people.
Right. And then when I started getting around other people who hadn't experienced what I experienced, I was saying to myself, damn, man, he's so lost, man. He don't get it. And I had to look at it like, but you hadn't been around what I've been around.
Right.
We come from the same area. We come from the same walk of life. But now I've got out of the city and I've seen this, and this. And when I come back to the city and I try to explain this to certain people, they look at me like I'm speaking Spanish. I'm like, man, you crazy, man. You can't, it's not going to happen here. You have to get out and meet people. The first video I did, the short term video, which is what you showed in class, that video was edited by a guy that I met on campus, a white guy named Evan. He edited my video. My second video, which was called They Gonna Like This One, which featured a multi-platinum artist, which is Big V of Napa Roots. Napa Roots was multi-platinum at the time. I did a song with one of those guys and shot a video. The guy that shot that video was a guy named Ryan Hamlin, who I met in a video class in the mass communication building. You know, at the time, he was a guy that was into short films. He didn't know nothing about hip hop. He was doing short films, but he said he always wanted to try to do a hip hop video. So you're doing short films. You want to try to do a hip hop video. Here I am looking for somebody to shoot my next video. So we came together and it worked. You know what I'm saying? And these are people that I met on campus, not in my city. You know, so I look at small things like this, like college played a big, big role in my career. I don't know where I would be if I didn't go to MTSU. Like, I don't know where I would be. You know, I can honestly
I have
say.
two thoughts. First of all, if somebody's an aspiring artist or a songwriter or in any field, the first thing you want to do is look for your champions.
Right.
All right, so find those people who believe in you. Is it a club owner? Is it a manager, a publicist? Is it somebody ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC? And then if they spread the word, you reach their network and also use their credibility. So rather than trying to go right to the top, like, hey, I'm gonna go to Interscope Records today. Look for your champions first. Build your team, and also, the music industry is a small world.
Right.
And
Thank you.
everybody knows everybody. So
Right.
if you're a jerk, everybody's going to know. But if somebody wants to help you, they can pick up the phone. Believe it or not, through Scotty McCreery, who was a young country singer at the time, I worked with Interscope Records because he was signed to he won American Idol, and UMG through an Interscope had the contract to all the Idol winners. Well, he happened to be country, so. So now I know people that work at Interscope. Right. So you never know, but the music industry is a very small world.
Very, 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 very.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people that all the time. Like I just had an interview with for the podcast last week with a guy that's from my city, a guy by the name of 4-5 Soldier. Shout out to him. I was telling him this behind the scenes, like, man, the music industry is the same thing you said. The music industry is big, but it's small, man. When you start traveling to all these cities, you're going to see the same people. It's going to be the same person that's putting on this event. It's going to be the same DJ. It's going to be the same promoter. It's going to be the same radio people. And if it's not the same people, it's going to be people that they know. You know what I mean? So all you got to do is just keep putting your face in different spots, and you're going to recognize. Like, so you might meet a guy today in Miami. You might shake his hand. That's that on that. 6 months later, you might be in Virginia and see that same dude. He's going to say, damn, weren't you the guy that was, and then from that point on, the conversation starts.
Right.
You might not pay attention to you in Miami, but when he see your face again, he's going to recognize that. And then when the conversation starts, then he's going to pay a little bit more attention to you because he knows that you are out on the road doing the same thing he's doing. And from there, you just take that and you finesse it, and you keep your name good with people. You don't burn no bridges, and eventually you're going to see doors open up. Right. It's not going to happen in 24 hours. It might take 6 months, 8 months, or a year, but it's going to happen. And I try to explain that to people who are willing to listen. So definitely. Now let's talk. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll brag a little bit. You know how you found a lot of success in East Tennessee. Yes. West Tennessee, we have a rapper named Nick West, whom you've met because you guys spoke at an MTSU class, right. And he has created his albums and all his videos, and he makes a great living with merch.
And his clothing line, yeah. I know Nick West's clothing line. Yes.
So we're getting an increased number of students from Memphis and Atlanta who are interested in hip hop. And as you may have known, we now have a graduate, an alumni named Street Symphony, who has won multiple Grammys, and he is teaching hip hop songwriting. And he is so devoted to our students. He lives in Atlanta, and he drives up to teach his class once a week. And he has worked with Lecrae.
Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle. He was going to say he got a Song of the Year Grammy nomination like a couple of years, 2-3 years ago, with the song with Nipsey Hussle. So he is really dedicated to helping our students.
You know what? Coincidentally, Street Symphony produced 3 tracks on my first solo album.
Oh, yeah.
Business as Usual. He produced 3 tracks on there. He also produced a track for the song I did called Crying Out Tears, which is in memory of my friend Kenny Clemens that passed away. Yeah. That Street Symphony that did that production, he did that. So we got history going way back. Yeah.
And something else that I really admire about what you do is you are using your platform to make a statement.
Yeah.
And because too often today, too many people, they just want to be famous. Their goal is not to be an artist, not to be a songwriter. They want to be famous. But you've used your platform, with the creation of your documentary,
right,
to to make a statement, let people know what they need to know about. So I'm proud of you for doing that.
And the thing about that, I've never honestly, and I can humbly say this, I've never chased the fame. I've
Yeah.
always chased the hustle and chased the dollar. And because of that, I stay working, so that brings the fame. Because I'm always recording, I'm always putting out videos, I'm always doing new projects. That right there keeps the camera in my face. That keeps people from the news reaching out to me. That keeps people from the local newspaper coming to me saying we want to interview you. That keeps people out of town interested in me. But I never chase the fame. It just comes with me putting my heart into what I do. So that's why I've become, I guess you could say, famous. It's because I go into it without chasing that. So it just comes to me because I guess I deserve it because I don't go looking for that.
Well,
So,
and I think people would be surprised at how hard work it is.
yeah.
I mean, you're still blessed to be able to do it, and you're lucky to be able to do what you love, but it's still really hard work, and you have a lot of ups and downs.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and because of that, you don't have an ego because you just been
I
beaten
don't.
up so much. It's hard. It's
No.
hard,
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard, but I love it. I love it,
I
Beverly. I
know.
wouldn't say
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love when my back is against the wall and I gotta make something happen. I love that challenge. Like I get off of that. I love that challenge, man. It turns me on to do that because at the end of the day, I know no matter what the situation is, I know I'm gonna win. I know that. I know I'm gonna win. I don't care what the situation. I know I'm gonna win. But I like being in those type of situations because I know I'm not gonna fail. I can't. I can't let myself fail. So I love that pressure. I love it.
Well, you've always been a problem solver.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
say that. You can say that.
Yeah.
A problem solver, an overachiever, overcomer. I
Yeah.
love being the underdog. I love being counted out so I can prove you wrong. I love that. I love it. Yeah. So that's just me. I want to talk about somewhere cool. Let's talk about MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University, which has the best recording industry program in the country and the biggest recording industry program in the country. Now, I want you to answer this question. If I'm an up and coming artist, no matter what genre I'm in,
Right.
and I'm trying to educate myself on this music business so I can further my career, why do I want to come to MTSU? What do you have to offer me?
Well, we are ranked internationally by both Billboard and The Hollywood Reporter as one of the top music business schools in the world. What's interesting is Hollywood Reporter is actually a list of music schools, not music business schools, and we're still on that list. What makes us strong? Our faculty, from John Merchant, who's the chair of the department, who has toured the world. He's worked with Barry Gibb. He's produced Australian rock bands. He's written international pop hits on down to, we have entertainment attorneys. We have people that were former record company executives and copyright administrators to producers and engineers. And we prepare you for the mainstream music industry. And we're proud of that. Because a lot of music schools that are like Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, they look down on popular music. Like their idea of modern contemporary music is jazz.
Okay.
But we celebrate popular music. And by that, we mean rap, hip hop, pop, country, Christian, heavy metal. And we're very much about beginning your career at MTSU. We take a group of students every year to the Grammy Awards, and they hear from all kinds of people. They go backstage at the Grammys. They do the walk on stage. They see what it takes to put on an international live broadcast. And keep in mind, some of these students have never been on an airplane before.
Right. Right.
And we run a stage at Bonnaroo, and we have a $1.7 million mobile production truck that films the live shows and packages those together. So we're giving you real world hands-on experience. You're hearing from people who are doing it today. And we also, our goal is not just about the career. Okay, so the career is one aspect of your life, but we really want you to be a whole, healthy, happy human. And to do that, and to be an artist that matters, like Kendrick Lamar, like Drake, like Kanye West, you need to know what's going on today. You need to understand history. You need to understand psychology. So that's why we have you take those classes, because you need to understand how that all comes together and can inform and influence your what you're writing today, a statement on popular culture. So if you're writing about George Floyd, you know, it helps to know our nation's history with that from Emmett Till through John Lewis and what all that he did in Nashville. So you know, it's not just about the music industry, it's about becoming a more confident person, a person who understands different perspectives in life and different areas of life.
Nice answer. Now, I was just going to ask you next, but you answered it already. I was just going to say, what are some of the perks that come with being an MTSU recording instrument major? And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Grammys. You know, when I first, go ahead.
I love our location because you're, you know, 45 minutes from Nashville, so you can be there when you need to be there, but it's not a distraction. Right. So another thing that's so special about MTSU is that our students are very serious about making music. Often they're not the popular ones in high school. They don't feel like they fit in. They're not the jocks. They're serious about music. And then they come to MTSU, and here are, you know, 200 kindred spirits who will analyze the lyrics of, you know, Nicki Minaj or Beyonce, or they'll talk about Beyonce's new Black is King. Not only how they enjoyed it as a fan, but what did the lyrics mean? Not only what about the visual images, but how literally with the video production did they get that shot? And something else that's special about our program is that it's collaborative. It's not competitive like a business school. They're not people trying to stab you in the back, because everything in the music industry is collaborative, right? So if you're an artist, you need a producer and a manager and an engineer and a publicist. And so people work together to make records, to work on projects. And a lot of our students come from out of state, so it's extra close knit. So it feels like it's you know, small little college within the major university. So you have all the benefits and resources of a major university, but you're in a little department that everybody knows your name.
I remember when I first started seeing, I saw a few years ago when I saw that y'all were taking students to the Grammys and CMAs. I got offended. I said, they weren't doing that shit when I was there. I'm like, I would have loved to go backstage to the Grammys, not on my own expense. You know, yeah. I'm like, oh. But I thought that was super cool to see that growth.
That was the idea of my predecessor, Dean Ken Paulson. And Dean was the former editor of USA Today. And when he came in, he said, we want our students where the action is.
Right. Okay.
And we want MTSU to have a presence at the Grammys. And 2 years ago, NBC Nightly News did a story on us the night of the Grammys.
I saw that. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And in fact, Luke Laird, who was in that piece, won a Grammy that night, and they were able to include that in the story. And then that aired on NBC stations from Hawaii to Maine, and we were called a Grammy winner factory and said, where do the Grammys, what University of Alabama is to football and Duke is to basketball. So we're really proud of that. But that's because we work hard, and our students put in the hours every day.
Let me ask you this. In your opinion, what do you think is the biggest asset that a student leaves MTSU with? For me, the biggest asset that I learned was networking. That was my biggest asset, because I didn't know how important networking was until I came to the campus and realized that this is what keeps you going. This is what can have you in a good position 8 months to a year to 3 weeks from now based on the relationship you have. That's what I got from MTSU. What do you think overall is the biggest asset the students are leaving with?
Well, first of all, it's the education. And it's also the insider industry knowledge, and especially what not to do, right? Yes. So last night I was watching the documentary on the Go-Go's, and it talked about, you know, how you hang on to your publishing, and how that if two members of the band are writing the songs and the others aren't, that can really break up a group, because the ones who write the songs make a lot more money. Right. So those are the kind of things we talk about. And then also, as you said, networking. So your classmates in 5 and 10 years are going to be running the companies.
Right,
At one point in Lady Antebellum, we had Hillary Scott of Lady Antebellum, who went to MTSU. Their manager, Daniel Miller, went to MTSU. the head of A&R, Brian Wright, went to MTSU. You know, you can go on and on and on. So, you know, I've even heard people complain on Music Row. Well, you know, they're having trouble getting a job because they didn't go to MTSU. So, you know, it is, you know, getting your learning with the people who are going to become the leaders tomorrow.
Well, that's a good answer. And let me say this about that too, to piggyback off of that. Like when I first came to MTSU, and this is when I learned how important business was, and also how important, or let me see, how important business was, and also that's when I learned the net worth of what I was doing. And what I mean by that is, when I came to MTSU at the time, I was a part of another independent record label that was based out of Chattanooga, but we was handling all of our business ourselves, you know, and we just looked at it like second nature, like who else is going to do it, so we got to do it. So it was nothing else. We loved it. When I got to MTSU, and I took classes like artist management, and I saw, and I learned what the job of a manager was. I was like, damn, this is what I'm doing already. Okay, I'm my own manager. Then when I learned, like when I took record retail operation, that was a real important class for me. Record retail operation, which taught you how to deal with the record stores and things like that. And I was looking at all these terms they were using, like escalations and things like this. And I was thinking, when we go to the record store to drop our albums off, we drop off, say, maybe 500 copies and say, okay, sell them for $10 a piece. Well, give us $10 a piece. You sell it for $13 or whatever. So then at the end of the day, once you come back, we're going to collect our 500. We're going to bring you some more. And once this record gets hot, we're going to up the price a little bit. And that's when I learned, damn, this is what escalations is right here. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing this already. I'm like, damn, okay, all this stuff that I'm learning, I'm already doing, but I just didn't know what the professional term for it was. And then when I took your class, which would be publicity in the recording industry, that's when I learned then about publicity. Now, before I took your class, I was already on TV a lot in my city. I was already having people pop up in my face with cameras and will you do an interview for me or will you take a picture with me and things like this. I already knew the importance of keeping your face on the scene. I was already doing that. It was just common sense to do that. Then when I got to the campus and I took publicity in the recording industry, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I've been doing. But this is right here is the professional term for it. I'm like, so all this stuff that I'm learning, I've been doing it already, but I just didn't know that I was doing that. Now, in a record label position, they hire people to do all these different things, which will come out of your budget, right? Which will give them a reason for you to basically not recoup after album sales.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, if I'm doing all this, what do I need a record? I need the money, but outside that, what do I need a record label for? I'm doing it already. And then the most crucial thing I learned, which is what you just said, was publishing. I took music publishing from Professor Matthew O'Brien. I took legal problems in the recording industry from Professor Moraine. And that's when I learned how important it was to not sign off your copyrights and not sign off your publishing. So no matter who's the person on TV rapping or singing a song and looking like the celebrity, the person who owns the copyrights and publishing behind the scenes, that's who was getting paid right there.
Right.
And that's when I started learning that a lot of artists will go to a record label and get an advance up front for $200,000 or $300,000 or maybe even $1 million. But in the contract, you sign your publishing off, or you're being signed off as a works made for hire, but you don't know what those terms mean. So you sign it. And
right.
then 90 days later, $1 million will come in, and you say, what am I owed? And they tell you nothing because you signed off on that. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get it.
And early on, you're so desperate for somebody to discover you.
Right.
And, you know, but now, you know, you don't sign a management deal to give somebody 30%.
Right.
You know, you don't sign a deal for 10 years. You don't, you know, and also, you know, didn't Professor Amy Macy help you get your job in New Orleans?
Yes, she did.
Tell that story.
Yeah. Yes, she did. Hey, this crazy. So Amy Macy, this is my shout out to Amy Macy. This is my girl right there. So when I was trying to get my job in New Orleans at the time, I sent my resume out to 5 record labels, and I never told people this. The 5 record labels I sent my resume out to was No Limit Records, which was Master P at the time. It was hot at the time.
Real hot.
Slip and Slide Records in Miami, which had Trick Daddy and Trina. Def Jam South out of Atlanta, which at the time Scarface was the president, and they had artists like Ludacris and the Disturbing Peace and a few more artists. And the 5th label was Chopper City Records in New Orleans. Now Chopper City Records was the record label of BG. BG was one of the premier artists on Cash Money Records. But at this time, Cash Money was going through a breakup. BG had left, Juvenile had left. And when BG left, he went to start his own label, Chopper City Records. I Googled that on the internet. And I know BG's real name was Christopher Dorsey. So when I Googled Chopper City Records, it said CEO Carol Dorsey. So I'm thinking, damn, this is a family member that's running his record label right here. So this must be a small independent label. They got to be looking for staff members. I'm knowing that he just left Cash Money because of, royalty problems or whatever the accusations were. He just left Cash Money. So in my mind, he's looking for staff members. And if he's suing for royalty problems, most likely they don't have a lot of money to pay somebody. So they got to be open to whatever they get. So I sent my resume. I called for 2 weeks straight. 2 weeks straight, literally. Leaving my name, I sent my resume. I didn't get a call back. I went and told Amy Mason what was going on. I gave her the number. She called. I guess she put her professional voice to it. Hey, this is Amy Mason, Middle Tennessee State University. I have a student, blah, 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 blah. They called back the next day. I said, damn, that's what it's. I said, I've been called for 2 weeks. They called the next day. So I got a meeting set up to go to, I had a meeting to go to, I had to fly to Miami first to go to meet with Slip and Slide Records. And I went straight from Miami to New Orleans to meet with Chopper City Records. And I weighed out both of the two. Chopper City Records felt more, it was, I got the better vibe off of Chopper City Records. So I graduated in May or whatever it was. The following week, I moved to New Orleans and didn't look back. New Orleans didn't look back. And the agreement was I came down to New Orleans as an intern, not paid, as an intern. The whole thing was we're going to let you intern for 6 months. And after the 6 months up, depending on what your performance is, we're going to determine if we want to hire you or send you back home. So I came and I hit the ground running. I took over the office. I'm answering all the phone calls. I'm a studio engineer. I'm head over the radio. I'm dealing with all the radio people, all the DJs. I'm booking the shows, like everything you can think of, I'm doing it. So everything relied on me. And when the 6 months was over with, you couldn't let me go back home because I'm running the office. And then I got hired. So from that point on, it was on. But that started from an MTSU relationship and phone call, So a lot of my success and a lot of my stories in my career goes back to my relationships and my things I did on campus. And I always promote that. I always promote that.
Well,
always,
thank you.
Always.
When you mentioned Ludacris, that reminded me, he came to campus within the last 2 years on tour, and our students ran his video screens on stage.
Oh, did they? Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I remember Ludacris coming, then I remember Big Boy from Outkast coming also. This is after I had graduated, but I had heard about it though. I heard about it. Now, this I want you to do. I've already said a few, but name a few classes that are offered in the recording industry program that students would definitely be interested in taking if you're trying to further your career.
Well, I'll tell you some growing areas. Branding, because that is getting more and more important. And now most artists are very open to things other than music, whether it's writing a book, launching a towel line, launching a clothing line, whatever it is. And one of the things we talk about is, consistency of the brand and image. Something else we look at would be digital analytics. So we look at the strategies behind using Instagram or Spotify, and how do you read those data analytics? How do you know where and when to advertise? How do you know about markets, that sort of thing? Another growing area is live sound. If you look around today, even churches have major sound systems.
Right.
About a year ago, I was at a dinner with the university president and some people from the Bahamas, and they had built this multi-million-dollar fine hotel resort. No one knew how to run the sound system there. So that is a growing area. We have also in Nashville a growing area in copyright administration, because UMG, Sony, ATV, Warner have moved their what we call backroom operations to Nashville. And those are the people that collect the money and write all the licenses. All right. So if American Idol wants to use your song, they have to have a licensing or sync agreement, that sort of thing. So there are a lot of jobs in that. So there are all sorts of things happening now.
One of my songs got licensed by Lionsgate Films.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they cut me 2 publishing checks with a few zeros on them. Yeah.
That's awesome. How'd they hear your music?
This is the crazy part right here. I'm glad you asked that. This is the crazy part. So the movie that Lionsgate Films used my song for was called Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers. There was a movie that came out on their films. Then it ended up going to DVD.
Was
So
that Harmony Korine's?
exactly, Harmony Korine. That was
He's
his
from
movie.
Nashville.
He's from Nashville.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's how he was. It was his movie. It had James Franco, Selena Gomez, Gucci Mane, and then these two kids called the ATL twins. Now that's how it piggybacks to me, the ATL twins. So okay, these dudes, the ATL twins, they were two white boys with a bunch of gold teeth in their mouth, and they was like on some skateboarding type shit. They were some skateboarders. They are based in Atlanta, so that's why they call themselves the ATL twins. But they were born in Chattanooga.
Okay.
Born in Chattanooga. So when the movie went to DVD, for the bonus scenes of the DVD, they did a special interview on them because they got like a big following. So they did a special interview on them. So since they were from Chattanooga, they wanted some music. The Lionsgate Films wanted music to play in the background while they were interviewing them. They Googled Chattanooga hip hop artists, and guess who pops up? Guess who pops up? Me. So they found my song Chattanooga, and they reached out to me through Vice Media in New York. Vice Media in New York reached out to me. Yeah, they reached out to me through Vice Media in New York. So they paid me one time to use my song to upload to the YouTube trailer as promotion. Then they paid me a second time when it all went out on DVD. Publishing checks, because I never signed my publishing off. And I learned that from college. So I got a huge.
And one of the things we teach our students is, how do you position yourself? How do you word it so that you come up high in Google searches?
Right.
So that's that falls under data analytics. Yeah.
Right. That was a blessing right there, man. That was a real blessing there. We had a few discrepancies, and they ended up having to pay me for that. But I was my own lawyer. I negotiated that myself. Oh. Let me say this too, but I ain't going into them in detail. But when they sent me the contract, right, to sign off on, they was trying to put funny stuff in the contract that they thought I wouldn't catch, I guess. And I was like, no, X this out, X this out, this. So you take this out, then I'll sign it. They said it was like a 6-page contract. So to say some of the stuff I said take out was on the second and third page. They take it out, send the contract back. Those same clauses on the 5th and 6th page, as if I'm not going to read that and see that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, they tried, but it didn't.
Yeah. That's happened to me with contracts.
Yeah. They were looking at my look and guess I thought he was just a rapper. He didn't know the business side of but hey, welcome to the party. That's
right. Right.
I got to ask you a few questions about yourself.
Okay.
The Forbes list for 40 women to watch over 40. Go and explain it a little bit right there. How did that come about?
That was a real honor, and it was recognizing women who are disrupting things, whether it's industry, society. And so I co-founded an organization called Change the Conversation with Leslie Fram of CMT and Tracy Gershon, who has been a longtime music executive. In country music, they have not been playing women on country radio. Women have not been, it's been really unbalanced, unfair. So in about 2014, we formed this organization to raise awareness and to fight for gender equality in country music. So I think that's one of the reasons why I got honored. And earlier this year, I became one of about 6 or 7 people who founded Nashville Music Equality, which is raising awareness and trying to bring out equity for people of color in country music. Okay. So we have been hosting Zoom webinars to hear from people of color who, some that work in the music business on the business side. Shannon Sanders is one of the co-founders of this organization.
He's out of Nashville.
He's out of Nashville, and he's a Grammy winner, and he works with everybody from NDRE to Jill Scott. Okay. And we actually just did an event where we talked to Black fans of country music who talked about how they don't feel safe at country venues. They've been harassed by other fans. They've been harassed by security guards. Our next event is actually coming up in a week. We're going to hear about the history of African Americans in the Nashville music industry, because the name Music City did not come because country music is in Nashville, but because the Fifth Jubilee Singers are in Nashville.
Okay, all right.
And they were playing for the Queen of England, and she said, "Oh, you're from Nashville. That must be Music City. So it's because of the Fifth Jubilee Singers that Nashville is known as Music City.
Okay.
So,
So are they going to discuss hip hop artists in Nashville also?
You know, I'm not sure. This is part of a presentation done by the National Museum of African American Music.
Okay.
So, you know, we're building a national museum in Nashville, downtown Nashville, that will focus on the history of African American music.
Okay, I didn't
So
know that.
this is part of their education program that they do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Now,
they've raised like $50 million for this museum. It is.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, it's
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I want you to expound on. Okay, you were in the Hall of Fame for the Nashville's Music Businesses Women. You made the Hall of Fame for this? What is that? And talk about that. Give us a little history on that.
Well, that's called the Source Music Hall of Fame. Source is an organization of Nashville female music executives, and every year they induct about 6 women into their Hall of Fame. And so we're featured actually within the Musicians Hall of Fame. We have our own space there, and so that was a real thrill to be honored, you know, in the same Hall of Fame as some of my idols and mentors. So it was not quite a year ago, and I gave a little speech, and they gave me a medal, and it was really cool.
Cool deal. Cool
Yeah.
deal. I got one more thing I need to ask you about. You are the executive producer of the show Iconic Women of Country.
Right.
How did that come about, and what is your actual role there?
Well, all credit goes to Barb Hall. Barb Hall is a very successful TV producer and writer. She has created some of the American Masters shows on Patsy Cline and Charlie Pride, and she's done all kinds of things. And so we worked together to try to get a documentary on women in country music, and I did some writing on the pitch, the treatment, if you will. And she went out and sold it, and she put together the documentary. She did all the work. She was lovely to share the credit, but I have heard from people all over the country who've seen it. It aired in like March, April, May, June. And so I'm hoping that we can do something even bigger, maybe a multi-night event where we have younger artists talking about the older artists and what they mean to them.
Okay, yeah, paying homage.
Yeah. Have you seen the 2 young guys I forget their names, on YouTube, who listen to different music, and it shows them listening for the first time? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. No.
Dolly Parton's Jolene the other day, and they listened to Whitney Houston's I think it was I Will Always Love You. And it's funny, I think they thought Whitney Houston was like this overweight, not very attractive person.
Oh, for real? Wow.
Well, they're young. Well, but they're young.
They're young. Okay, all right.
So they didn't know who she was, but it was fun listening to her. They listen to country music, and they're very appreciative. And they're like, all right. I wish I could think of their name, but I love them. I can't get enough of them.
When you let me know, when you find out, please text them. I want to check that out.
I will.
So, Beverly, is there anything else that the people need to know? Like, what can we expect from Beverly Keel? What's going on? What's coming next? What do we need to look for? Let us know.
Oh, gosh. You know, we're adapted to whatever the new normal is on campus. Right. So you just have to pivot and change. And that's why if you can know a lot about the world, a lot about history, you know, this is not the first time our nation has been in a crisis. We've been in world wars, and we've had presidents assassinated.
Right.
And so your education shouldn't stop. Your career shouldn't stop. The good thing is right now, there are many free things that you can learn from. For instance, Yale University has put online for free its entire class on the African American experience in America.
Okay.
Free. So we're in about 3 weeks, we're going to come back to campus. We're going to be about 40% in person on ground in some aspect. Like we're going to maybe take a class of 30 and put them in a classroom that would hold 100 to socially distance. We'll have 40% that are online. But we're working hard. We're not stopping. We are opening a new songwriting center, a standalone songwriting center.
On campus?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right.
So
Where's it
that's
gonna be located? What is
it's
it?
actually going to be in the Miller Education Building, which used to be a hospital. So they're going to have their own wing, their own parking lot, everything. It's super
Okay,
cool.
all right.
We are moving our studios D and E to nicer facilities out of Ezel. So we have a lot going on. We've just launched the new audio production degree. So now you can get a bachelor's in audio production. You get a bachelor's degree in recording industry with an emphasis in music business or commercial songwriting.
All
We have
right.
a music business MBA, and we also have an MFA in recording arts and technologies. I hope we're going to start up soon an MFA in TV and video or film production. So we're growing and moving and pivoting with the rest of the world. So I'm excited. Things are going well.
So all y'all who listening, if you're trying to get into the entertainment business in any way, no matter what genre you're in, if you're trying to learn this business and really further your career, Middle Tennessee State University is where you need to go. Go to the website, www.mtsu.edu. That's where you need to go. It's professors like this, let me upgrade that. Deans like this, and Beverly Keel who can walk you through this and show you the path of the road you need to take. So again, I'm myself, Maal The Pimp. Those who know me as an artist. I'm an alumni of Middle Tennessee State University. I graduated from there with a degree in recording industry, music business. I have two minors, one in mass communication and the other in entertainment and technology. People like this help my career. So again, any up and coming artist, no matter what genre, Middle Tennessee State University is where you need to be at to further your career. Take it from me right there. Again, I want to thank my special guest, Beverly Keel, Professor Beverly Keel, Dean Beverly Keel, a friend of mine. You know, I love you to death. I appreciate you. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you very
I
much.
love you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. We'll
Talk
be
to
in.
you soon. Thank you.
All right. See you later.